What up, Doe? What up, Doe, guys? It's your girl, Zsa Zsa, and you are listening to Yeah, I Said It, and you already know before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it, and I know you heard me the first time. Listen, it is a beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. We ain't in nobody's jail. We got the activities of our limbs. Listen, when I tell you God is good, God is good, and it ain't nothing that nobody can do about it, because guess what? At the end of the day, it's Thankful Thursdays. We have the activities of our limbs. We ain't in nobody's hospital. We are in our right mind. Listen, God is so good. We have been having some amazing weather. And y'all been tripping, okay? Yeah, y'all been tripping. And y'all already know. Y'all been out here in these streets wilding out. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, and I'm not talking about Nick Cannon. Listen, I'm your host, Zsa Zsa Hubbard, and it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And as I say each and every week, listen, you are listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. I'm talking all about it, the little things that matter. The little things that matter. For those of you who follow me and follow my page, you know that yesterday was a very, very significant day for me. It was the day that my mother passed away. My mother had 7 children. I'm the oldest, numero uno, So, being the oldest sibling or the oldest kid, you the test dummy, you the test dummy of parenting. So for those of you who are the number one child of your children, kudos to you, Black Power and all that stuff, because being the oldest, you oftentimes end up being the other parent inadvertently, and you end up learning things about your parent and learning things about yourself as you get older. But if you're tuning in, I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. Growing up, my mom was a very, very hard worker, to the point where I thought that my mom worked extremely too hard. But at a place in our lives, as women, we got to do what we got to do. We don't get a chance to make the decision on whether or not we want to feed our kids or whether or not we want to dress our kids. Now, granted, there are some trifling women out here, and we are still celebrating Women's History Month, okay, because you guys are some amazing women and you have been birthed by some amazing women. And with that being said, with us celebrating Women's History Month, there are some women that take pride in being a mother. There are some women who take pride in being a woman. And when you take pride in being a mother, and when you take pride in being a woman, it shows. Your fruit will show. It will show in what you've planted and what you've grown. But if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. Yesterday was the day that my mother passed away. And for a very, very long time, it was very, very hard for me to even look forward to that day, because I knew it was a day that I lost somebody that was very, very dear to me. And if you don't know that the reality of this world is that people are going to live and people are going to die. But you have to make up in your mind, what kind of person are you going to be while you're living here on this earth? Listen, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. When my mom would raise us, she would always make our plates, and have our silverware with our food. And, my mom would go the extra mile of making something sweet after we had dinner. We would have dessert. My mom would make it a rule of thumb to take us to the park or take us out to eat. And, after a while, you spoil your children, and they oftentimes think that they gotta have these things. And, when you lose someone that you care about, you end up losing the little things that you don't necessarily deem to be big things until that person's no longer in your life. For instance, every Valentine's Day, my mother would go to the dollar store, get us all Valentine's Day cards, and get us all little heart candies, right? She didn't have to do that. That was nothing required of her to do for her grown up adult children. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about it's the little things that matter. See, when people value you and they value what you bring to the table, you'll always know how a person feels about you with how they deal with you. It's the little things that will allow you to know how a person is valued in your life. If you ever want to know how you look or are deemed in a person's eyes, see how they've treated you in times past. See how they treat you right now. If you ever want to know how a man feels about you, ladies, look at how he's treated you in times past. Look at what you've had to deal with. Were the majority of the time frames that you all were together, were you crying, were you frustrated, were you sad, were you depressed? That'll let you know where they value you. Same thing with you, fellas. If all she wants is money, if all she wants is a little bit of your time, that'll let you know right there where that person deems to be valuing you. Unless that person is busy and they got other things they got going on. Now, this is the thing, right? If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. See, when my mom would go and get those little Valentine's Day cards and those little chocolate candies, it wasn't a matter of her trying to be the best mother on earth. It was a matter of showing us that no matter what you got for Valentine's Day, from whoever you got it from, know that your mother loves you. See, my brother and I, we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, our mother, and we were talking about just the woman that she was. And you all know it's still March, and it's Women's History Month, and women are making strides in this season like never before. And I told you all last week, when I talked about parents with an attitude, about women raising their children and being single mothers and being women of stature and having to get out here and go and get it. And my brother and I were talking, and he was telling me about how my mom would oftentimes go and get them cards. Because y'all know, y'all got loved ones that's in prison. Y'all got loved ones that's in a hospital. Y'all got loved ones that's in convalescent homes and rehab homes. And some of y'all won't even go visit y'all loved ones. Some of y'all won't even go and send them a letter, check on them. And I'm going to tell you something. Life and death is here and it is gone before you know it. The Bible says that you know not the day nor the hour. You don't know the day and you don't know the hour. So with that being said, you might want to make it imperative that you reach out and maintain those relationships, because you never know when your time will come. What type of woman or man will people remember you being? See, one of the things that I loved about my mother, and me and my brother were talking, and if you're tuning in, we're talking about it's the little things that matter. My brother was telling me how my mom would send him thinking of you cards from Dollar Tree. Y'all know them Dollar Tree cards. They 2 for $1. And she would get 2 of them. One for one brother and one for my other brother. They were in 2 separate prisons. And she would send them thinking of you cards. And I'm going to tell you something in this season. It doesn't have to be much to show that you care, right? We have all been affected by the tragedies of this pandemic. We have all been affected in some way, shape, or form, even if it wasn't your health, yourself, if it was someone else's health that you were connected to, if it was preventing yourself from being sick, if it was a loved one that you lost. This is the thing. It's the little things that matter. One of my favorite shows growing up was Family Matters, Step by Step. Y'all remember those shows. Don't act like I'm the only one that remembers Step by Step. Don't act like I'm the only person that remembers Family Matters. And one of the things that I loved about Family Matters was the dynamic and the relationship between Steve Urkel and Laura Winslow. Y'all remember Steve Urkel? Did I do that? and he had the suspenders and he had the tight pants and he had the little casual shoes and the socks, and he always wore the plaid button-up shirt. And then it was Laura. Laura was his next door neighbor, the Winslows. And Laura was beautiful, and she was the popular girl at school, and all the guys loved her. She was the captain of the cheerleading team, and she was the oldest sibling, and her dad loved her, and her mom adored her, and her brothers and sisters, they all looked up to her. And the relationship between Steve and Laura was ongoing, because he would always come in unwelcomed in the most irritating way, in the most irritating time. Y'all remember Steve Urkel? And he never went in with the intention, right? He never went in with the intention of doing something crazy. It just so happened that Steve Urkel was always doing something that got him in trouble. It didn't mean that he did it with a malicious heart. See, this is the thing I'm talking about, the little things that matter. See, when my mom would send my brothers those thinking of you cards, it wasn't because she was trying to be the number one mother in the world. It was because she knew that it was the little things that count. See, God brought us Jesus to perform miracles and to save us from ourselves. And the thing about it is that although God performed all of these major miracles, it was the little things that he did that made a major impact. See, women in the Bible, wise women, they build up their house. A foolish woman, I told y'all, a foolish woman will tear down her house. And see, when we were thinking about Steve Urkel and Laura Winslow and the household that they lived in, you never saw Steve Urkel's parents, but you always saw Laura's parents. And you saw that the household that they came from and the type of dynamics that they came from and the structure that they came from. And you saw that Steve Urkel, he wanted that. He wanted that family structure that Carl Winslow and Harriet had created. And it was the same thing with my mother. My mother created this dynamic that every family wanted. I always desired to be that woman that my mother was. But desiring to be those type of people, whether it's successful people, whether it's people in leadership, whether it's your own parents, at the end of the day, they sacrificed to get where they are. And too much is given, much is required. And we all want the success of all the things that we want, but we got to put value on one another for real. See, Laura didn't value Steve Urkel until it came to doing a test or passing a class. See, nobody ever valued Steve Urkel until he came out with Stefan. Yeah, everybody wanted Stefan at the parties. Everybody wanted to pass the classes. Everybody wanted to have the straight A's, and they didn't value Steve until Steve was able to do something that they wanted, until he was able to provide something that they wanted. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it, and it's the same thing. We don't want God and we don't want Jesus until we want what we want. Instead of thanking God for the little things that we have, like breath in our body, activities of our limbs. See, we don't think of it as a major thing until we don't have it no more. See, we don't think about what God has blessed us with until we don't have it. Yesterday, y'all might see my eyes a little puffy, but yesterday I wasn't sad. I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. You know why? Because I valued the relationship of my mother while my mother was here. I don't cry because me and my mom didn't have a good relationship. I cry because I loved my mom and we had a great relationship. There are women in your life that they may not be around forever, but the little things that they've imparted into you have caused you to become the woman that you are today. See, when my mom died in 2015, I was devastated. I was heartbroken. I didn't understand how I could pray and believe and have faith that God would heal my mom and bring her back. And for it not to happen caused me to question my relationship with God. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about it's the little things that matter. See, people are always putting the emphasis on the big things that people do for you when it's the little things. It's the little things that you should be grateful for. Because when God sees that you are grateful for the small things, he'll start blessing you with the bigger things. See, It's a matter of where you see value, where you see fit. When you value certain relationships, you will put emphasis and value on those relationships. See, me losing my mother made me want to value our relationship even more. See, when you lose something that you really loved and cared about, you know next time I don't ever want to get in a situation where I'm going to miss out on somebody that I love and care about, because you're going to value that relationship better. That's just like for men who've lost their wives or relationships that they really wanted to be in. Oh, when they find that next woman that they really care about, oh, they're going to take care of her the right way so that they don't lose her. For those men out there, ladies, you found a very, very amazing man, but you didn't know how to deal with him, and you didn't know how to react because you never had a good man, because you were so focused on the joker that dogged you out. And now you don't even know what a good man looks like, and you're missing out on opportunities because you didn't understand or value the little things that that man was trying to do for you. See, my ex-husband wasn't all that bad. He did some really great things in my life that I didn't really understand until after the fact, because I had put value and emphasis on other things that weren't applicable to our relationship. Sometimes we end up putting value on things that don't got nothing to do with nothing. Nothing. And we'll cause our own psychological psyche to think of things that don't even exist. When my mom had passed away, I started feeling and thinking of things that I knew I shouldn't have been thinking about. Because when you're dealing with death and grief and anxiety and depression, let me tell y'all something. I don't know what in the world. It's almost like the devil knows. And he'll start having you think of crazy stuff. And I would be thinking of crazy stuff. And I would say, okay, man, I don't know what you got going on in there, but I'm going to need you to stop thinking about this crazy stuff. Because when you're going through and people aren't valuing you and people are tolerating you and not celebrating you, you feel that stuff. It's no reason at all for adults to act like they don't know what's going on. You know what I find so funny to me? When people act like they are so oblivious. I didn't even know. What? I didn't even, huh? You knew. You knew what you said. You knew what you did. You knew how you said it. You was there. I was there. We both was there. We knew everything that happened. And if you're tuning in, I'm talking about the little things. It's the little things that matter. When my mom would send us out those birthday cards and Valentine's Day cards and thinking of you cards, it let me know how much my mother valued our relationship. When my mom didn't have a bunch of men running in and out of her house, she could have. My mom was a very attractive woman, very voluptuous woman. And she could have had me in and out of her house all day, every day, if she wanted to. But my mom had more self-respect. She had more value, and she understood that she was raising young kings and young queens. And because of that, she put more value on herself so that we could have value. If you ever want to know if a person values you, look at how they value you now. Look at what they do for you now. Look at what they've been doing for you. Look at what look how they talk about you when you ain't around. I just talked to my brother last night, and we were talking about some things and some dynamics within our family. And I said, I can't go where I'm tolerated. I want to go where I'm celebrated. Yesterday, I seen a good friend of mine that I hadn't seen in quite some time. And the smile that they had on their face when they saw me, that's the type of smile that you want people to have when they see you. You don't want them to be around nobody that's frowned up, rolling their eyes, or feeling some type of way. I don't need that type of energy around me, because God is doing some really great things. And when God is doing great things in your life, people will get mad and upset because you're not being tortured. You're not depressed. You're not suffering with anxiety. You ain't homeless no more. You ain't carless no more. Some people liked you when you was down and out. Some people valued you at your lowest point because it made them feel better about themselves. So you got to pay attention to people and why they say and do certain things. See, it wasn't that Derek Jackson wasn't a relationship expert. In fact, he was a relationship expert. In fact, he was such a great relationship expert that he thought that he was obsolete to his own words. I tell y'all all the time that I'm not going to give you no wisdom that I don't take myself. See, that's the difference between people telling y'all stuff and people actually following through with the walk. See, there are a lot of people that can get on social media and make you think that they're living their life like it's golden. Like they running up checks. They making boss moves. But I'm going to tell you something. Some people put emphasis and value on their malicious intent. Some people don't connect because they want to help each other out, because they want to do great things and help the community. No, they hook up and connect. You know why? Because they trying to sugar honey iced tea on somebody. They want to down somebody. They want to act like they doing better than somebody. And see, this is the thing. One of the reasons I loved Family Matters is because even though Steve Urkel did some crazy stuff and he made messes and he tore stuff up, they value Steve Urkel. They didn't let nobody come and punk him and hurt him. And they felt guilty knowing when Steve Urkel was being mistreated, knowing that he was always there for them. You might want to be careful when people find it okay to mistreat you, knowing that you've been there for them. You got to be careful when you find yourself in situations where you should be, right, on the list of people that they love, but instead you're not. See, one of the things that I love is the spirit that God has given me when it comes to not giving an F. You know, the spirit of I don't care. Because you got to get to a point in life where you love the people that's loving you, that you support the people that's supporting you, that you connect with the people who's trying to stay connected to you. And see, although we are in a pandemic, and although everybody's attention spans are pulled in so many different areas, and if you're tuning in, I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. Talking all about it's the little things that matter. See, sometimes we're looking at the big thing when it's the little things that matter, ladies. When he opened up your door, how he talks to you on the phone, how he treats his daughters, his kids, how he deals with his finances, ladies, how he deals with his family, fellas, how she deals with her children, how she deals with her parents, how she deals with her business and her bills. It's the little things. See, I pay attention to the little things. Before I could ever expect big things from you, I got to see how you maintain the little things. And it's the same way with God. Too much is given, much is required. See, the thing about it is we all want everything, but we don't want to handle or do or be a part or change the necessary ways to maintain it. My goal is to be a multi-billionaire. And I know in order for me to be a multi-billionaire, there are some relationships that either I got to mend or I got to wash my hands with. I got to mend or I got to wash my hands with. Because if I don't, I'm going to always be focused on relationships that don't matter. See, sometimes we are holding on to relationships that ain't holding on to us. They are not giving us a return on our investment. And while we saying, please, 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 please be my friend. Please, please, please be my man. Please, please, please be my partner. Please, please, please do business with me. Please, please, please love me. Please, please, please hire me. Let me tell you something. There are people that are going to love you, support you, value you, lift you up, tell you your booty getting fat, tell you your breast is high and lifted, tell you your lineup is tight, love your swag, love everything that you got going on. Let me tell you something. There are people out here that everybody ain't a hater. Everybody ain't envious and everybody ain't jealous. And you will know based off your experiences with these people. And I'm going to tell you something about the Holy Ghost. Okay? Y'all may not believe in it yet. Y'all gonna believe though. Y'all working on it. I see it and I love it. with your relationship getting stronger with God, he'll have you develop your Holy Ghost, your Holy Spirit, your intuition, or whatever it is you want to call it. Okay, your gut feeling. The more in tune you become with God, the creator, whoever you want to call her, the universe, the lady, whoever, the person that you're praying to, the more in tune that you become with the divine person that's within you and the divine creator, he will start showing you people before they even show you them. He'll start showing you who really rock with you and who don't. He'll show you before you get in the room who was talking about you and who wasn't. Let me tell you something. God has put me in positions where he has allowed me to know about a conversation and I wasn't even in the room. He'll have somebody make a mistake and slip up and say something that I wasn't even supposed to know. But because of the way God works, he'll allow me to see or hear some things that I needed to see. And see, you have to become so sensitive about you and your life, your children, your family, that you are not willing to sacrifice that for nobody. Right now, where I am in life, and this will be the same way until God calls me home, I'm not playing about me. And see, the thing about it is that people will play with you as long as you allow them to. People will treat you the way they want to as long as you allow them to. Derrick Jackson treated his wife that way because Derrick Jackson's wife allowed him to. She ain't no fool. And I wouldn't be surprised if she had a boyfriend herself. You see what I'm saying, ladies? Because after the first time you've been cheated on, trust has already been broken, right? So now you got to rebuild back that trust. And it's the same thing in any relationship. Once the trust has been broken, you have to work toward building that trust back up. And it only works if the people who are a part of that relationship actually put in the work. See, Derrick Jackson got to put in work to not cheat. He got to put in work to not be a whoremonger. See, I commend men who know that they can cheat, right? I commend men and women who know that they can cheat and they choose not to. It's a difference between a man knowing he can cheat and not cheating, and then a man knowing that he can cheat and still cheats on you. See, it's a difference between a family member trying to block you out or ice you out or devalue you or cause an obstruction to stop other people from liking you, or have a friend or a business partner who tries to slander your name and dog you out in the streets and cause other people to not want to work with you. Listen, let me tell you something. The God that I serve, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. No weapon. Even if it's your family, even if it's a so-called friend, if even it's a so-called foe, no weapon that's formed against you shall prosper, but it only won't prosper if you know God. If you have a relationship with God. See, it doesn't, and this is one of the things that you have to be careful, because there are a lot of people who quote scriptures. There's a lot of people who talk about God, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they know how to pull at your heartstrings. They'll say things like, yeah, God is good, and all the time God is good. You know why? Because they overheard people say it. You got to be careful of people who actually exemplify a walk with God and a person who just regurgitates information because they heard it from somebody else. There are a lot of people who regurgitate information because they heard somebody else say it. They have not fact-checked it. They have not studied it, researched it, called around about it. They just telling false information, because that's how rumors get started. That's how rumors get started. And the thing about it is that while we're celebrating Women's History Month, women naturally change the course of history. If we really want COVID-19 to go away, we want poverty to go away, if we want racism to go away, if we want to increase diversity and inclusion, guess what, ladies? It's going to be us that does it. It doesn't mean that men won't do it, but I'm going to tell you something. Men have a higher ego and a higher fact rate than women do. Women We have pride and ego too. But see, the difference is women come to the play with feelings involved. Men know how to ice feelings. Men know how to argue, fight, wrestle, punch each other, and still go back and be friends and not think twice about it. This was something that I had to learn. I had to learn and master having confrontations with other individuals and still being able to still value what you bring to the table. See, some people can't do business. That's why it's hard for women to do business on a corporate level, because we go in with our feelings hurt. We ain't like what the boss said to us. Let me tell you something. My former employer, Kathy M. Garrett, the Wayne County clerk, was my boss. And I used to wear these suits and my pearls. They used to call me Barbara Bush. And I always wore my suits and I always wore my pearls. And anybody who's known me, they knew that's all I wore was my suits. Church, work. That was it. That was my life. And I remember one time Kathy Garrett pulled me in her office, and she hates when I tell this story, but I'm probably going to tell the story to the day I die or to the day she leaves this earth. But she valued me enough to pull me in her office and say, "You are a very beautiful woman. Your eyeshadow don't got to match every one of your outfits. You look crazy," in so many words. But she valued me enough to tell me, "Hey, I love you. I care about you. And I see potential in you, but this ain't working for you." And see, when people value you, when it's the little things that matter, it was just that little bitty change of going from eyeshadows that match every last one of my outfits to now having a natural glow. It went from me buying dollar store stockings because they were the cheap version to me going and getting Berkshire stockings because they were a better quality and a better value and they lasted longer. See, this is the thing about emphasis and value and a matter of importance. When people are important to you and when you value them, you're going to invest time. You're going to invest money. That's why when people break up, they hurt because of what they've invested in the relationship. People only get hurt because of what they've invested in the relationship. See, I'm at a point right now where I can walk away whether I get a return on the investment or not. That's true business 101. You have to understand that every last one of our opportunities that we get in life is an investment. Every woman that I have encountered in my life, and if you're tuning in, you're listening to I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about it's the little things that matter. Every woman that I have encountered in my life, whether it was a good encounter or a bad encounter, has helped my life. I have learned something from every last female relationship, whether we were on good terms or we're on bad. There was a lesson that I learned when it came to the value in our relationship. There were women that I don't even talk to on an everyday basis that I saw that had more emphasis on what I brought to the table than the people that I saw every day. See, this is when you know. See, when my mom died, it made me value her a lot more. And I warn young people, and I warn my youth to don't devalue what your parents bring to the table, because you never know the day or hour where your parents will be gone. I look at parents. I look at people who still have their parents and they complain, "My mama calling me. She get on my nerves." I would love for my mama to call me and say, "Let's have a glass of wine." I would love to call her and say, "Mom, for this next quarter, I'm getting ready to go into, I just signed blah, 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 and da, 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 and it's getting ready to drop." I would love to call my dad and say, "Hey, Dad, I want to take you to the cigar bar, and I want to take you and get you the best cigars that they got, and the best whiskey, and the best cognac on the top shelf." I would love to be able to call my brother and say, "Hey, brother, meet me at the studio. Let's go to the stew." so that my brother could drop one of his singles and one of his albums. You know why? Because I valued my parents and I value what my brother brought to the table. And when you value the people that you claim you love, you are always going to invest in them. Because guess what? The people that love you, they're not going to look for you to do the big things. They're going to look for you to do the little things. Yesterday, while I was mourning the loss of my mother, I was in a meeting, a production meeting, and one of my good family friends, or I don't know what to call them, but she was my babysitter, and she watched me and my brothers and sisters growing up, and she passed away. And shout out to the Miles family, Jawan, Jasmine, and Jakari. And she passed away. And I wasn't gonna go by there, right? There was everything in me was like, don't go by there. They don't even talk to you like that. They don't rock with you. Going on about your day. Everything in me said, mind your business. Mind your business. That's what everything in me said. But the Spirit of God said, don't do it. Because if your mother was here, your mother would go over there and send her condolences. Sometimes you are going to have to get out of your own self and do what God called you to do. See, some of your hurt and some of your pain and some of your dissatisfaction that's going on in your life right now is because you didn't follow the directions that God gave you. You got distracted by pretty smiles and handsome faces. You got distracted by the bag and by the vacay and the come up and the stimmy check. You got distracted because you ain't in church no more. You ain't at work no more. Now you trying to find all type of things. You watching stuff you ain't got no business watching. You talking to people you ain't got no business talking to. And now you mad because your stuff ain't off the ground like it should have been. Because God told you long time ago to work on something that you didn't do. And now you looking at other people's success and you thinking, oh, I could do it better than them, or I could have did this and my stuff could have been off the ground. Guess what? You should have put emphasis on what God put in front of you. You went and tried to help them. You tried to help their business, trying to help their marriage, trying to help their relationship, trying to help their ministry, and your stuff wasn't together. I'm going to tell you something right now, the season that I'm in, I ain't helping nobody do nothing until my stuff's straight. The end. Now, will I assist you if you need me? Will I host your event if you pay me? Will I marry you and your spouse if you schedule your consultation? Will you need help with your business needs if you schedule a consultation? Do you need training for your speaking engagements? Listen, let me tell you something, baby. I'm going to help you. I don't mind supporting. But in this season in my life, I will no longer be helping people with what they got going on. And then now my stuff is sitting here discombobulated, ain't connected. I'm looking at a whole Lego set that's supposed to be an empire. And it's a bunch of blocks. And when I left, I was building something. And now I come back and my stuff still ain't together. But they stuff together. They got all kind of stuff going on. And then, y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? And I'm talking about it's the little things that matter. They won't even come back and say, thank you. Thank you for connecting me with somebody for my business. Thank you for counseling me and my family. Thank you for providing my family with food because we didn't have nothing to eat. See, when people will forget. People will forget how you supported them and how you helped them and how you looked out for them. See, this is the thing. My memory, I got a memory like an elephant. I don't forget nothing. I may forget your face, but I don't forget nothing. I mean, I may forget your name, but I don't forget faces. I don't forget because I'm so in tune with me and myself and my life. I pay attention to numbers. I pay attention to the seasons. I pay attention to the weather. I pay attention to what I have on. I pay attention to the date. I pay attention to the day. I pay attention to my mood. I pay attention to what I ate. I pay attention to so many things that involve me. That's what it means to be woke. That's what it means to be on a higher vibration. All that positive vibes only. And we out here doing it and all that. No. You got to be careful how people move. Because although, yeah, people linking up and people collabing and they doing things, but why are they doing it? See, I pay attention to the why. I don't pay attention to the what. I don't pay attention to the who. I don't pay attention to the when. I pay attention to the why. Why are they doing the things that they're doing? Because see, it's easy to say, oh, Zsa Zsa only doing this because Zsa Zsa want to do this and Zsa Zsa want to be that. Yeah. But do you really know why? Did you ever take the time to figure out why? See, we don't value one another because we're quick to judge one another. We're quick to put our mouth on one another. And then when the person blow up, you trying to figure out like, how the hell did this happen? Well, while you was sitting at the table dogging them, they was moving the play, baby. While you was trying to belittle what they had going on and what they was building, baby, there was a meeting happening. There was a contract that got signed. While you was thinking you was making a big move, guess what they was doing? They was making a chess move. See, you thought you was making a chess move because you linked up with high power people or certain names. And I'm gonna tell you something. I know everybody from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. And I'm only one call away from anybody that I need to be connected to, whether it's from Barack Obama to Joe Biden. All I have, let me tell you, God has put me in such a place where all I have to do is have I'm literally one phone call away from whoever it is I want to work with. One. And I put in my Insta stories, as I always do, inspiring things. And I said in my Insta story, all it takes is one move from God. See, one of the things that I had to learn is I had to stop looking to my left and to my right. I had to stop looking what was behind me, who left me, who dogged me out, who didn't value me, who didn't share my work, who didn't wear my stuff, who didn't buy my book, who didn't. I had to stop looking at them who's and start looking at who was supporting me, who did like my stuff, who was calling me with opportunities, who was emailing me saying, hey, sis, I got something on the floor for you. See, I had to learn, right, that you can't focus on who doesn't value you. Focus on the ones that do. It's the little things that count. I had a homegirl call me the other day. Hey, I got a radio opportunity for you. She ain't have to. But because she values what I bring to the table, just like I value what she brings to the table, it ain't nothing to share opportunities. You should never have a person confused about how you feel about them. See, if you love somebody, let them know. When I meet people and I develop relationships with them, they know whether I rock with them or I don't. And see, the thing about it is that when I used to watch Family Matters, I used to feel bad for Steve Urkel. And I'll say, they do Steve so bold. He loved him. All he wanted to do was be like Eddie Winslow, be important like Carl Winslow, be in love with Laura Winslow. He was cool with the grandma. He wanted to have and share that love like Harriet. But because they didn't value Steve Urkel until he brought something to the table where they felt like they could value it. See, you can't wait till a person dies and say, oh God, how I wish I would have spent more time. How I wish I would have, could have, should have. I think about my mother every day. And I thank God and I laugh about all the times and the memories that we have made. And it sometimes makes me feel bad because my little sister is going to grow up to not have these type of experiences. And see, when you value people, you look beyond what you see right in front of you, right? There were ladies that I was in jail with. There were ladies I was in rehab with. And we're talking about celebrating women's history. And I'm talking about it's the little things that matter. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. When I was sitting in that rehab and sitting in that jail, I knew I was better than some of those women. Y'all know y'all better than some of these people y'all see, right? Ain't no sense of y'all trying to act like, act funny or act like you ain't the sugar honey iced tea. You should feel confident in your skills, in your capabilities, in your abilities. And you shouldn't allow nobody to allow you to minimize that. You know you the sugar honey iced tea. And don't let nobody make you feel any less than that. Because if they do, that ain't the tribe for you. Any man or any woman that's trying to make you feel less than who you are, them ain't your people. If they all they could talk about is who you used to be, what you used to do, and all this, that, and the third, they're stuck on who you used to be. Them ain't your people. They have not matured or matriculated in a place where they can accept your success in your life right now. It's hard for people that you grew up with and went to school with, and people you know that know your mama and know your grandma and them and know what you all about and know where you came from to see you be successful. It's hard to watch that. It's hard to watch that because at the end of the day, they knew they had the same 24 hours. They knew they had the same 7 days. They knew they had the same 365 days that I did. See, the difference is that I use my hours, my times, my days, my weeks, my months a little different than yours. See, on my downtime in the pandemic, I wasn't sitting around eating ho-hos and donuts and snacks. I was crunching them abs. You hear me? Because although I don't want 6 abs, I want 4. In order for me to get the 4 abs that I want this summer, I knew that I had to put in the work during the downtime. See, you'll know who's really putting emphasis in the work on what they're doing by what they are doing. And don't be misconstrued by other people who may be doing more than you. They just may be in a better financial situation than you. I told you guys last week that there are some people's kids right now that are adults and that are kids that are living lovely and lavish, not because they did anything. They ain't do no work. I know kids right now, they ain't put in no hard work. They living off the back of their parents. Their success is from their parents. My relationships that I've developed and acquired over the years and the talents and the skills and the characteristics that I possess is because my mom invested in those things. My mom was nice to people. My mom developed those relationships. So it was only wise and smart for me to have those same relationships as well. That's why it's important for those of you who are parents or plan to be parents. That's why it's important that you pay attention to the life that you live right now, because you don't want to have a baby one day and now you got all these enemies out here in this world. Yeah, right now you living your life like it's golden and you ain't got no kids and all this, that, and the third. But you might want to be careful because the enemies that you make today may affect your kids tomorrow. See, one of the things that I love is that not only my son is an amazing kid, but I love the fact that the relationships that my son has developed are not just conducive to his behavior, but they're conducive to mine. His success is predicated upon what I do. If all I do all day is smoke weed, get high, smoke cigarettes, drink, party, lay up, have sex, buy a bunch of clothes, guess what I just did? I have created a repetition of another generation that's going to put more value on sex, drugs, money, clothes, looking good, looking fly. We have gotten to a place where we are the city of the starving stars and hungry hustlers, and everybody wants to look like they doing something. But they have no life insurance. They have no real car insurance. They are renting. They don't own a property. They have been renting for the last 20 years and they have nothing of substantial. And it's not to dog out our people, but it lets you know where we're putting more value. If I were to go to any African-American home and I were to go in your closet, I'm sure that I would see more value in the name brand designers that you have than to go into your portfolio and see that you have a financial portfolio that is equivalent to the value of designers in your closet. If you got $20,000 worth of clothes and designers and shoes, but you ain't got $20,000 in the bank, something wrong with that. If you are more concerned with likes and views on social media than the numbers that's in your bank account, something wrong with that. If you are more focused on who liking your stuff and who subscribing, let me tell you something, baby. The God I serve, he gives increase. So I'm not worried about if I get 1,000 likes today, 1,000 views tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, whether I got 1,000 or one, the right person needs to see it. Not everybody, the right person. See, when we put things out, and my page is public, so y'all already know. Y'all ain't got a heaven and hell to put me in. And if you're tuning in, I'm talking all about it's the little things that matter. Because see, at the end of the day, we as women, we can make or break a situation. You know how? Because the women that we have set up in our lives either will bring you closer to God or they'll move you further away. See, wise women will help you make more money or they're going to help you spend all the money. You got to be mindful of the type of women that you have around you. Do you got women that's saying, here, give me, or you saying, hey, give me that money so we can go and flip it? Let's go ahead and put some emphasis on what we're trying to build here. So you got to be mindful of the type of women that you have around your life because they can make you or break you. See, there's a story in the book of the Bible of Samson and Delilah. See, Samson had these long dreads and that's where his power lied. And so he was in love with Delilah because she was beautiful. And see, Delilah didn't care nothing about Samson. You feel me? She had got paid by his haters to cut his dreads, to set him up. And I'm going to tell you something, fellas. You might want to be mindful that you don't get caught up with a pretty face, with a big butt and a smile. Because the last time I checked, they said that girl is poison. And so while you chasing behind that wop, okay, you might end up being put back in a box, in a situation that you don't have no control over, hooking up with the wrong type of female. And that goes with friendships as well. With ladies, you'll know what type of friend is good for you. Because I'm going to tell you something. Friends will elevate you. Friends will support what you're building. Right now, I can sit here and say congratulations to my bishop, the presiding Bishop J. Drew Sheard over the Church of God in Christ, because you know why? He had people who were in his corner who supported him and uplifted him, and they weren't wishy-washy. They weren't flippy-floppy. It didn't mean that it wasn't people that turned on him. It didn't mean that there weren't people that dogged him out, sniffed out information to see how they could dog him or put him in a corner or put him in a box, because everybody don't want to see you win. Everybody ain't Black Lives Matter that look like you and me. Everybody ain't for the culture. I was around people yesterday that probably could care less about me. But guess what? My mindset ain't on them. I can't care about the people that don't care about me. That ain't where my focus is. And see, this is the thing. People will attach themselves to you because of where they see you going and what they see you doing. But you got to be mindful to the little things that they bring to the table. Do people call you and say, hey, how can I help? How can I support you? What can I do to help with whatever it is that you got going on? When people come into my life, they either come to bring peace or chaos. And you got to pay attention to the fruits that people bear. Look at their tree. Look at the tree and see what they have grown. Do they bear good fruits of growth and change? Or are they retarded on their process? Are they going backwards? Because see, you got to be mindful of connecting to people who are always moving backwards. They're never moving forward. They always caught up in stuff that don't got nothing to do with nothing. See, the people that I talk to, we sit down, we have a conversation. How can we be better? What can we do in this segment of our lives that we didn't do in this season? Those are the kind of conversations that I'm around. I'm not around conversations that's dogging people, being malicious in intent. Because I'm going to tell you something. You can fool everybody else, but you can't fool God. And I'm going to tell you something. Just like Delilah, just like Eve, just like Tamar in the Bible, just like Leah in the Bible, these were significant women who changed the trajectory of our world. Literally, Eve went against God and said, I'm going to eat this apple anyway, my nigga. I don't care what God said. So what that tells me is that women are bold enough and fearless enough, right, to do whatever it is that God has called us to do. And not only that, But a strong woman, a good woman, a faithful woman, a fruitful woman will help a man become fruitful. Help him grow. Help him get his sugar honey iced tea together. Because I'm going to tell you, although my pastor is the presiding bishop of the Church of God in Christ, he wouldn't have been able to get there without Karen Clark Sheard. Period. The end. Yeah, he great and all. He the bomb.com. He know it. I love him. He my ninja to the end. But he wouldn't have been able to get there without a good woman on his team. See, I'm going to tell you, fellas, if you want to be successful in life, and I'm talking about longevity successful, not this temporary success, a good woman will help you build up your life in a way that you will never even remember the fact that you were poor. You will remember the fact that this woman has caused you to look at your life in a way where I got to get myself together. It's a guy right now that want to date me. I can't date you. You live at home with your parents. I want to be able to go and spend a night at my man's house and walk around at leisure. But see, if you value the relationship and what you're trying to build, you're going to say, you know what? Let me go get me an apartment or a studio right quick. Because I'm trying to build something with this young lady. And in order for me to get to the place where I want us to be, we're going to have to spend a lot more time together. And see, at the end of the day, people will never forget your vibe. If you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. They will never forget your vibe. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know Zsa Zsa because you do. And y'all already know, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Make sure you follow me on all platforms, social media platforms. Okay? And if you want to purchase any of my I Said It gear, go to my website, www.zsachubbard.com, and you can purchase all my new stuff. Listen, I got something for 420 for y'all, for all you 420s people out there. I got something for you. And listen, tune in tomorrow for my TV show. You already know UCC TV, Uncommon Conversations with your girl Zsa Zsa, and I have an amazing guest on my show this week, Montel Carr. He's going to be talking all about getting your wealth together, emphasis on your money. And listen, I'm looking for more guests on my TV show. We're getting ready to prepare for our second season, y'all. I am preparing for my second season of my TV show. And guess what? In the next 2 weeks, I will be preparing for my 100th episode of my podcast. Yeah, I said it, because y'all already know. Before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it, and that's on period. Listen, it's the little things that matter. It's the little things that matter. At the end of the day, the greats have great people behind them. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. Yeah, there were people that caused obstructions in their life, and yeah, those people had haters too. Even Jesus had haters. But guess what? They all had people that were solid behind them. And one of the things that I have learned in this world is that solid people don't fold. It's the people who ain't solid that will always fold. They will always fold. They will act like they solid. They will talk like they solid. But when it comes down to being solid and to being 100 and being a real ninja, you know how people love to say they 100 and they real and they this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something. Time tells, situation tells, discourse tells, miscommunication tells you the value of a relationship. And if you don't know where you fit in a person's life, look at how they treated you in the past. Look at how they're treating you now, and look at the little things that matter and that count. Listen, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, share this video, subscribe. Listen, make sure that you tune in, set your DVR for 8 o'clock tomorrow. I would love to have you a guest on my podcast. I would love to have you as a guest on my show. Listen, I'm looking for advertisers. I'm looking for sponsors for both my podcast as well as my TV show. Listen, if you're a new business owner with a service or product and you want to have your commercial on my TV show on national TV, I am a part of the #1 Black-owned TV station in the Midwest. And I am proud of that. And I know that God is going to bless that Because I'm faithful over a few things, he'll make me ruler over many. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Make sure that you wear your mask, okay? Because COVID-19 is still real and people are still getting sick. And remember, it's the little things that matter. And if a person can't give you the little things, don't even worry about trying to get the big things from them. I love y'all. Peace.